Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So I honestly can and can't believe that it's about to get worse for the good people of California who wish to partake in their Second Amendment rights. I'm starting to think that there's got to be a building somewhere with a floor full of people in it whose sole purpose it is to come up with new ways to infringe on people's constitutional rights in that state, because this happens far too often for that not to be the case. Regardless, we're talking about a new proposed rule by the California Attorney General and the Department of Justice that's going to make it even more difficult for you to get your carry permit in that state. This is all due to SB 2, which is set to take effect on January 1st of 2024. SB 2 on its own is already a bad bill. SB 2 makes it nearly impossible to even get your permit and extremely costly. And if you do actually get your permit, well, you still can't carry just about anywhere because, well, everything's considered a sensitive place. Again, this new proposed rule makes that even worse. Now, before we talk about this new proposed rule and what it does, if you think that California politicians have absolutely lost their minds when it comes to infringing on your constitutional rights, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's talk about this new rule. Okay, so let's go and talk about what's going on here, because this is pretty sneaky. I mean, this is like a backdoor way of imposing even more gun control on the people of California, but by avoiding the legislature altogether. So, as I'm sure you're aware, in California, as in many other states, you have to undergo some type of classroom training as well as live fire training in order to complete the application process. Now, in California, there are quite a few certified CCW instructors, but because California is so big and there's so many people there, depending on what county you live in, I mean, you could be looking at a 4 to 6 week wait just to get that appointment. So, as it stands right now, it can be pretty bad in some counties. Well, California's made it abundantly clear that they don't want you to get that permit. Once you have the permit, they don't want you to use it. It's just that their hand is being forced by the Supreme Court. So what did the Attorney General and the Department of Justice decide to do? Well, they decided to rewrite the criteria, that the requirements for those people that are providing that CCW instruction. And they have made it so stringent now that you're probably looking at maybe a loss of around 80% of all instructors in the state of California, meaning that there's not going to be anybody left to provide CCW instruction in that state. So let's go ahead and take a look at the document. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's a look at the new application that certified instructors will have to fill out. And before we kind of dive into how this is going to basically cut off just about everybody, I should mention that the comment period for this new rule is open right now, and it's going to remain open until later on tomorrow. So you have a very little time to leave a comment, but I will put a link down below to where you can comment on this proposed rule here. So the top part of this looks pretty much normal, right? It's not until we get down to those 3 little check boxes right there that you realize that, well, pretty much nobody is going to be, I guess, properly certified under this new rule. So we'll take a look and read this here. It says, pursuant to Penal Code Section 26165, Subdivision A4, and California Code of Regulations, Title 11, Section 4410, a carry concealed weapon CCW, Department of Justice, DOJ, certified instructor applicant must be certified by one of the following entities. Select one training entity below. Initial applicants must attach a copy of this certification. Now, one thing to consider here is that in the past, people that are certified instructors for USCCA or NRA certified instructors would all qualify to become CCW instructors in the state of California. Those people would all be good, and there's quite a few of those up and down the state, and a lot of people rely on them for good quality instruction, and that's where a lot of people went. As a matter of fact, I even went to one when I was there. So those people are not on this list right here. That's not one of these 3 check boxes that you see. So the first check box says Bureau of Security and Investigative Services, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, Firearm Training Instructor. So the person wanting to provide instruction is going to have to check that box if they went there. Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, State of California, Firearm Instructor or Range Master, and authorization from a State of California accredited school to teach firearms training courses. So again, if you don't have one of those 3 licenses, you're now no longer allowed to teach people the CCW courses that are going to be, again, taking effect January 1st of 2024. Now, with a state that has a population like California, what do you think that's going to do to the state? When you wipe away that many people that were previously certified instructors, and tell them that they can no longer provide that service for people to get that permit, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Well, there's going to be a massive shortage. And that means that, number one, there may not even be anybody left in your county that would be able to provide that service to you. You know, counties are, some are bigger, some are smaller. LA County's massive, you know, Ventura County's a little bit smaller, and different counties throughout the state kind of change in size and population. So in some counties, it's very plausible that there may not be any more instructors left that meet those three little check boxes right there, because if you don't have, you know, a certification from one of those three agencies, which is one of those, or two of those are actually like law enforcement agencies, but if you don't have instruction from those, forget it. You can't provide that service anymore, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. It's going to cause people to just outright completely not be able to get their permit at all, because they're not going to be able to finish the application process. And then two, it's going to make it so difficult to find anybody that you may have to drive forever to be able to go and do that. The wait times are going to go sky high, through the roof. I mean, you're probably looking at I can't even imagine what the wait times are going to be. They're just going to be long. And because of just simple economics and supply and demand, with a small supply and massive demand, you're going to see prices skyrocket. And remember, with SB2, all of these different things you have to do in order to get your permit, you have to pay for all of them. All that stuff is coming out of your pocket. And in some counties right now in the state of California, I mean, you're looking at $1,000 plus just to get your permit, right? Again, the permit that you're still not going to be able to barely use once you leave the house because of all of these so-called, you know, restricted areas, safe spaces, whatever you want to call them. It's all ridiculous. And this is the new proposed rule. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, you know what? We don't want you to have a permit. So we're going to completely limit the inventory of people who can certify you to get one. And without that certification, you can't finish your application. Sorry, you're out of luck. That's what the DOJ and the Attorney General have come up with in that state. Again, completely avoiding the legislature altogether. Now, I should mention that's not the end of it right there. That's just the requirement to be the classroom instructor. If you're somebody who wants to do the live fire training, then you have 6 different options, and some of these options are almost impossible because you'd have to, one, be in the military, or other options like law enforcement and stuff. It's very difficult to be able to qualify as somebody who does that instruction, but let's take a look at the 6 here. So number 1, Bureau of Security and Investigative Services, Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California. Okay, that's one of the ones that you can have. Federal Government Certified Range Master or Instructor, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, Firearm Instructor or Training Program or Range Master, United States Military Occupational Specialty, your MOS, as Marksmanship or Instructor. Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, State of California, and authorization from a state California accredited school. Now, here's the thing that really gets me, okay? This is a proposed emergency rule, right? They're doing this at the last minute because they have only about a little over 2 weeks until January 1st when SB2 takes full effect. And so here they are, middle of December, scrambling to get something done. And so they propose this emergency rule to do that. Did they have to do an emergency rule? Of course not. They could have done this through the normal channels because this has been signed by the governor, passed, and then signed by the governor 4 months now. They had plenty of time to come up with all the different nuances and procedures and things like this and taken the normal steps to do so, but they chose not to. And so here we are mid-December with this emergency rule that people had, only days to comment on, which is again gonna, finish up tomorrow. But they just basically waited to the last minute so they could use that emergency rulemaking procedure and just kind of shove it down people's throats. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a fairly good chance, regardless of what comment you leave, it's still going to happen. But this is going to make SB2 even just that much worse. And I wanted to make you guys aware of it so that maybe you have a chance to leave a comment. I just want to let you know, if you do leave comments and you leave like nasty language and stuff like that, they're just going to friggin' delete it anyway. So be constructive, right? That's what I would do. I would be as constructive as possible, but also at the same time, let them know how you feel. Just watch the way that you word it because you want them to actually read it. I don't know if they actually read it or not. I don't even know why I'm saying that. They probably just throw them all away. It's the state of California. They don't care. Anyway, again, I just wanted to let you know about that. Thank you all very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.